Hello, everyone. Hope I'm audible and the screen visible. Welcome back to another session on data analytics using Microsoft Excel. Today, we will be looking at a few more concepts related to pivot table. Okay, thank you so much for the confirmation. So thank you all for joining back. Let's proceed. We will, as usual, start with the agenda. The recap of yesterday's session and then the agenda. So yesterday we looked at how we can format the data in a table. We saw how to create something called as pivot tables, how they are a very flexible and a very useful way of summarizing the data. Okay, rather than looking at row level detail and then trying to draw inferences from it, which could be quite a tedious task. When you have big data, lot of data, then if you have to go through each record and understand what is going on, it would be very difficult. Instead, if we summarize the data per region, per product, per category, per department, per customer, per order, right? Depending on which domain we are in, then we can draw meaningful inferences very quickly from that data. So that is the main purpose of pivot tables. Just it will help you to summarize your data and present it properly. So that is what we had seen yesterday. We will continue. Today we will look at get pivot data feature. Then we will look at some calculated fields that can be created on pivot data. And also we will look at an option called as show data as. Different inbuilt calculations that are there in Excel can be explored from this option. Okay, there are a lot of inbuilt calculations which we shall look at. So I will be using the same data source which we used yesterday, the coffee chain data. So here's my data. Okay, the first basic thing is you might want to go ahead and check the data types. Okay, because especially with date fields, because if you don't assign the data type as a date over here, later when you try to insert a date, slicer kind of a thing, it wouldn't work. So basic formatting, whatever has to be done, you can go ahead and do it on your raw data itself. Like in this case, I will make it a number, area code without decimals. We can select the field, go up to the home ribbon, and then assign a proper data type to the fields. So like I did yesterday, all these are text and all these are related to currency. So we'll choose currency, post which you can go and choose an appropriate currency symbol and also remove the decimals if not required. So my data is pretty much ready. There are no blanks, there are no duplicates. You can check for it if you want. Yesterday we saw. Now finally, I will convert this into a table first. The keyboard shortcut for that would be to hit Ctrl+T. Okay, so you can see the margin running out around the entire data. This data will become a table. Now once it becomes a table, what happens? You will get the table contextual ribbon. By going there, you can change the design, and we have certain other options which we discussed. It is always a good practice to give a name to the table. So I will start by giving it a name, coffee chain. Then the other way, another option that comes up is this small drop-down icon, which can be used for sorting as well as filtering the data. So we had seen sort and filter yesterday. Now we will proceed. This is my table which is ready, but I need to create a pivot table from here. Okay, so how to do that? We can either go to the insert ribbon and select pivot table, or on the table ribbon also, we have this option called as summarize with pivot table. Once I select it, it will come. So this is the complete range of data. The complete data in the coffee chain table is what I would like to use and create a pivot table with it on a new worksheet. Okay, on a new worksheet. So once I click OK, you will notice how it is created on a new worksheet. Now, one basic thing that I will do, just so that all of you can see it very clearly, is increase the font size and slightly increase the column width. Okay, the moment we create a pivot table, you see this is the name of the pivot table up here. Okay, so when you go to pivot table analyze, here it comes. You can also give a name to your pivot table so that it's easier, for you to recognize which table is present where. So let's call this we'll practice get data feature here. So get data pivot, I will call it. Okay. And there should not be any spaces between the words. You can connect them through an underscore or a hyphen mark, but not a space. All right. You can notice that whatever name I have given to my pivot table over here, the same thing is appearing here on the header of the pivot table. Okay. Now, here we get the pivot table fields. List of all the fields in that data connection would appear. We have a filters box, columns box, rows, and values. So as we discussed yesterday, when you drag and drop something into these, accordingly, the pivot table will take a structure. So suppose I take date to the columns shelf. Okay, then you can see how they are getting arranged as columns. And when we talk about date field, it is always rolled up by year. You can see, though we have the complete date in our data source, it is rolling it up by year. We can drill down to quarter and date if necessary. And this buttons, the plus and minus, to do a drill down and a roll up will be available. So like that, we can drill down and roll up. All right, let me roll back. Now I want to change the way that it is represented over here. Okay, I will take this date field into the rows shelf and I'm going to remove quarters and years. Okay, so just by date, only date, quarter and this. If you want, if you're not getting the Jan, Feb, let me do it one more time. Removed everything. I'm going to put back date. All right, by default, what happens when you use date? It is going to roll it up, right? We know that it will roll it up. So now we go under this group selection. In the pivot table analyze ribbon, we have group selection. So I'll go there and I am going to use the group field option because I don't want to see all of this data in detail. I'm just interested in getting the information at month level of detail. All right, we just need the data per month. Now, because I have taken date to rows box, you can see how it is arranged as rows. Years are arranged as rows. That is the purpose of columns and rows. Now, let me click on OK. This is what I want. Months. All right. And let's say I'm interested in looking at the sales. So I'll take sales into the values shelf. By default, it is summarized with sum as the aggregation. This also we know. Yesterday we had discussed that it is always sum that comes up as the aggregation. So we are seeing sum of sales. Now, if you might want to change the sum to something else like average or so, you can click on that I, isn't it? You can click there on I, that symbol, and then you can choose a different aggregation if required. I'm going to cancel it for now because I'm happy with sum of sales. Right. Now we are going to work or talk about the first concept, which is get pivot data or get pivot data. How to do that? Let's say I'm interested in getting the data for the month of Jan. All I need is to get the data for month of January in here. Okay. So how to do that? Equal to, okay, we don't have to write the entire formula, just the equal to sign. And if I select January there, okay, and hit the enter key, you can see how it has brought me the data for the month of Jan. Now, let's say I want data for all the months to be fetched and displayed down here. Okay, beginning with January, I want data for all the months to be displayed down here. Now, what I will do is simply hold this handle and drag it down. So when you're dealing with months, Excel is intelligent enough to automatically fill in the series. You see how it has managed to fill in the series. Okay. So for all of these months, I would like to look at the sales data, whatever is the sales. So how do we do it? We can put the equal to sign. Just go up to the value and select the value directly. The moment I select the value, you will notice how Excel has automatically populated the formula. It is getting the pivot data for sales, which is beginning in cell A3. And it is getting data for which date? 1. 1 means Jan. Okay, Jan is the first month, right? So 1. All right. And once I hit the enter key, you can notice how data from here has been brought over here. However, if I copy it down, Okay, when I do a double click and try to copy it down, the same value is getting copied down throughout the remaining months. So this is not what I expect. I want to get the data for each month in there. All right. So why is it copying down the data for Jan? That is because here date is hard coded. We are referring to the first month. So it is getting hard coded and giving you that value everywhere. So instead, I will remove that. Okay, I will remove one. And if I say, no, bring me the data for this month, which is in this cell. All right. And we will leave it as relative referencing. Why? Because when it moves down to Feb, we want this to change. When it moves down to March, we want this to change and get updated to D20. If it's May, it should go to D22. April would be 20, May would be D22, June would be 23, so on and so forth, right? So I will just hit the enter key. I hope you all understood this. Now, if I do a double click and copy it down, you can notice how the values have matched. Okay, whatever we have here, we managed to bring them outside the pivot table also. So this was the data in the pivot table, and I managed to get all that data outside the pivot table over here. Now I'll make a small change just to redo the example so that you can understand it better. Now what I will do here is I am going to include product. Let me bring product to the columns shelf. Okay, so now that I brought the data to the columns shelf, I will close this pivot fields window. I don't need it anymore. Little bit of formatting needs to be done over here, right? So let me go to this column and format it. I will go up here and make it a currency. And I'm going to use US dollar and reduce. Now, when you apply formatting from the home ribbon, okay, from the home ribbon, when we go to this section and apply formatting, it gets applied to the cells. These cells, it's getting applied to the cells. Okay, it's not getting applied to the field. So I will undo this step. I'm going to do a Command Z or Control Z to undo that step. Okay, instead of applying the formatting from the home ribbon, when the data is in a pivot table, okay, if you apply the formatting by going here to this option, value field settings. So what am I doing is a right click in the cell which is containing the sales value, and I will choose the option value field settings, which is on the context menu. Now, when I go and click here, we know that we will get this window from where we can click on the number or number format option, then change the formatting. We can apply the formatting. We can say that this is currency, whether or not to show the decimal places, format it, and how would you want to represent negative values. All this we can do and click on OK. Now you will notice how across the table, across the pivot table, wherever sales is being represented, it got formatted. So that is the difference between formatting from the home ribbon and formatting from inside the pivot table using the value field settings. These two are different. Okay, these two are different. Okay. Now, we were practicing the concept of get pivot data, how we can bring some data from inside the pivot table and show it separately if necessary. Okay, separately if necessary. So over here, this is my table, which is pretty big. Let's say I want to bring the data for all the months. Okay, so I'm just going to type in Jan. And we know that the autocomplete feature will fill in the series of months when we click and drag. Okay, up to December. So I have the list of months over here. Now I would like to look at the sales data for the product which is selected by the user. So let's say the user is going to select a product, and based on that, we have to show the sales across different months for the product that is chosen. Okay, for the product that is selected by the user. And they will enter the name of the product here. Let's say green tea. Okay, suppose the user would like to see the data only for green tea, or we need to take the data only for green tea. How to do that? I will just put the equal to sign in here, open the bracket, or not even necessary, just put the equal to sign and go and select the value, the sales of green tea from the month of Jan, which is over here in this cell. Once I click on it, you can notice how Excel has written the formula. Okay, it has written the formula. You can look at it up here on the formula bar. So we are bringing the sales information. Our data is starting from the cell A3. And now you can see hard coding. For which date are we bringing it? For the first month. And for which product are we bringing it? For green tea. Okay, once I hit enter, the value will come. Okay, the value has come. So this is the sales of green tea from the month of Jan up here. But I need to copy it down so that I get the information for all the months. You can see it is copying down the same value. This is basically the result of hard coding, which is happening in the formula, right? So instead of 1, what to do? Like we did earlier, instead of the number 1, I will point it to this cell that is holding the name of the month. So I'll point it to Jan. And this month Jan is in A19 cell, and it has to be relative referencing because when we move down to the next month, it is supposed to get updated. A20, A21, A22, so on. So I'm happy with that. Now, when we come to product, you can see that green tea is hard coded over here. So I will reference this to this cell. Okay, I will reference it to this cell because the user is going to enter the name of the product down here, right? In this cell. So I'm referencing that cell. Now, should this be relative or should this be absolute? For month, we wanted relative referencing because it has to reference the next month and then the next, then the next. But for product, it has to at any given point of time reference the name of the product that is typed in here or selected in here or provided in here, right? So we need to lock this cell. So to lock this cell, I am here on D20. I will simply use the F4 function key. What does the F4 function key do? It will convert relative referencing into absolute referencing. By now, you are all, I'm sure, familiar with relative and absolute referencing. So now when I hit enter and then copy down the formula, you can see how the values got updated. This is the data for green tea, all right, across different months. From here, it brought the data from here. And you can see the values cross-check with this. All right. Now, what if the product changes? Let's say they change it to mint. Accordingly, the numbers have changed. Data from mint for the sales of mint have come here. Now, let's make it a little more easier for end users to select what they might want. How? By providing a validation list. So what I'll do is go up to the formulas, the data ribbon. And over here is the icon for creating data validation list. Okay, so I'll go there, select the first option for data validation. What I need to create is a list, and the list is supposed to contain what values? That is what we need to give here. So I'll just close this so that I can access the information in the chart, in the pivot table. This is what I want in the list, okay, up to regular espresso. And then I can expand it by clicking here and click on the OK button. All right. So now the user can choose a product of their choice from this list. So depending on what they choose, accordingly, the data is getting updated. You can see these values have come here. Okay. If I go there and choose some other product, data from that product is coming here, Mocha. Okay, so that is about get pivot data. We have the lookup functions, we have the index and the match function, all those also you can try it out. But when you're specifically working with pivot data, with a pivot table, you can use the get pivot data feature. You can use the get pivot data function to pull back the data that is required for your analysis or the data on which you might want to focus. Okay, I hope you all understood. Get pivot data feature, which is there when you're working with pivot tables. All right, let me quickly check if there are any questions before we proceed to the next concept. Okay, how to access data from outside of the spreadsheet like Google Sheets, etc. That we will discuss next week. Okay, Dhya, we will do that part next week. Can you upload the data? The data is already provided. Multiple times we have given it, and you are asking it multiple times. I don't know what the problem is here. Please check the link is provided today also. All right, so that's it. I think we'll proceed. So this was one pivot table. Okay, the next thing we will talk about is calculated fields. All right, calculated fields. So can we write calculations and work with calculated fields on pivot data? We can do that. So I'm going to create one more pivot table now on the coffee chain data itself, and it's in a new sheet. We will use this for practicing the concept of calculated fields. All right. Swarupa, all the time, if you want the dollar sign only to appear and not the rupee symbol or anything, your system locale has to be changed. See, depends on your system locale. Okay, because we are in India, it is giving us a rupee symbol all the time. If you change your system locale to US, it will give you dollar sign all the time. Okay. Now let's give a name also to this pivot table. Comes under here. This is for calculated fields. Practice. Okay, so there should not be a space. Calculated fields. All right. Now let's say for various products arranged as rows, I would like to check what is the profit that they make by taking it to the values shelf. So here's the profit. And I'm also interested in looking at what is the budget profit, which is nothing but target profit. Okay, so I will take it in here. So for every product, we can see what is the actual profit. Let's rename this to actual profit made by the business. Okay, and this is the target. So what coffee chain people are doing, or what data they have given us, is for every product, they have defined a target that it is supposed to meet. They expect that each product should make so and so profit. All right. Now, this is what they made in reality, the actual profit that these products made. Now, I would like to check the difference between the actual profit and the target profit. All right. Now, how do I get the difference? How can I bring the difference between the actual and target profit? So what I will do is, on the pivot table analyze contextual ribbon that comes up, here is an option called as fields, items, and sets. So when we click here, there is an option to create calculated field. When I choose the option for creating a calculated field, the window that helps me create a calculation and insert that into the pivot table comes up. We can give a name to our calculated field over here. I will call it difference. Okay. And the formula, you need to type it here in the formula box. So my formula is, I would like to take the profit. Okay. So I'll just select profit and click on the add button. All right. So let me just type in profit. Sorry, not add button. Sorry, insert field. Okay. We must click on insert field. So I'll select profit and click on insert field, or you could directly do a type. You can type in minus budget profit. Okay, so let me insert that field. Profit minus budget profit. Even if you don't give those quotations, it is fine, it will work. I'll just put this in brackets, which is also not required, but I'm doing it to give you a clarity. So what am I doing? I would like to compute the difference between the actual profit and the target. Actual profit is in the field named profit, and target profit is in the field named budget profit. Okay. And we're getting the difference between the two. Simple, straightforward formula. Once I click on OK here, you will notice how the difference is computed and displayed. All right, let's do one thing. Let us change the currency. Look neat, everything. So you can see how it has computed the difference. How is it showing us the difference? Wherever the difference is negative, it is simply enclosed in brackets. And wherever the difference is positive, you can see the number. So if the difference is negative, what would it mean? Let's just call this difference, not sum over. Let's just call it difference. Okay. If the difference is difference between actual and target. Okay. This is what I'm calling it. If the difference is negative, what would it mean? It means that that particular product could not reach the target given to it. It missed the target. That is why the difference is negative. And by how much value did it miss the target? It missed the target by $2,130. If you look at latte, the actual profit is 11,375. What was expected from it? 10,100. So it has clearly performed well. It went beyond the expectation, right? So the difference is positive. And by how much did it exceed the expectation? By 1,275. Okay. Mocha, the actual profit is 17,678. What was expected of it? 23,280. It missed the target. It could not reach the goal. And by how much did it miss the goal? Here. By 5,602, it missed the goal. So I hope you're able to understand. Now, further, you can go ahead and apply conditional formatting on this data. Wherever there is negative, let us show a different color. Wherever there is positive, let's show a different shade, right? So what to do? We already discussed conditional formatting. You can just go up to conditional formatting option on the home ribbon, and I will use color scales. Okay, let me use green, yellow, and red color scale. So wherever we have done really well, whichever product has gone way beyond the expectation, it's in green. Light shades means lesser. It did well, but not by a huge margin. And the moment it starts orange, turns orange and red, it means it has clearly missed the target by a big, significant margin. Okay, you can convey your information better by even doing conditional formatting. So I am able to understand by how much I have either met the goal or by how much we have missed the target. Now, how about showing this data as percentages? By what percent did we miss the target? By what percent did we go beyond the target? Showing the difference as a percentage is what we will talk about now. Okay. So how to do that? I'll have to create one more calculated field. So on the pivot table analyze ribbon, I will go to the fields option, and from here, I'm going to create another calculated field. There. So the name to the calculation, I will say percent difference. And here we are going to build our formula. So how should the formula be is, it will be the actual profit minus the target or the budget profit. And the whole thing should be divided by profit. It will come in decimal format. Okay, it's going to come in decimal format, but later we will change it to percentage through formatting. Okay, so this is my formula. Profit minus the budget profit divided by the actual profit. That would be the difference computed as a percentage of profit. Okay, so once I click on OK here, you will notice how it has computed the difference, but it's showing all zeros. That is because of formatting. All right, you can see here 0.1 something means 11% or so. Here we have missed the target by around 30%. Here we have accomplished our target by just about 8%. So why this is not coming? Because it's rounded off and showing all the whole number part. It's showing the whole number part. It's not showing the decimal part. Now I'll have to format it. So I'll go to the home ribbon, and from here I will simply make it a percentage and reduce the decimals. So you can see that now it's showing the information in percentage format. Now look at regular espresso. What is the target? 9,060. How much did it achieve? 10,065. Means by 1,005, it has gone above the expectation, which is nearly 10%. To be very precise, 9.98%. If you want to be precise, you can increase the decimals. Okay, it is almost 9.99 or 9.99% that we have gone above the target. Look at Mint. Target was 6780, actual 6154. So it missed the target by around 600, which is nearly 10% of 6,000. Right, 600 is 10% of 6,000, which is what we are seeing here. We missed the target by 10% margin. Here we have gone above the expectation by 9% margin. Here the target was missed by 47% margin. All right, I hope what I'm trying to convey is clear. So yeah, like this, we can go ahead and build calculated fields. And what is the final thing? 3%. Right, that is also interesting, no? That is with respect to the grand total. This is the overall expectation. All the products combined together, this was the expected profit. All the products collectively have given 266K, approximately 267K as the profit. So were we able to reach the overall target? Yes. By how much? 8,233. So overall, it is on the profit side. Okay. Overall, if you look at the business, it has gone above the expectation. Some products could not do well. Some products did extremely well, making up even for those products which couldn't reach the target. Overall, pulling the profit to, greater than the target. Overall, the profit is really good. And by what percent did we go above the expectation? 3%. By how much percent did this business go beyond the expectation and do well? By 3%. Okay, I hope you all understood it till here. Yeah, whatever doubts you all have, you can type in. Tanvir, you can just type in your query, no problem. I will check. All right, so this was about calculated fields. Now we will focus on show data as option. Okay. So for that, I will create another pivot table. I'll go back to my copy chain data and go up to the table ribbon and click on summarize with pivot table. A new one I'm creating. Let's change this. Show data as option is what we are going to explore over here. All right. As we always do, let's simply increase the size of the table, and this maybe just 18 I will keep. And we can give a name to the table, right? We know that we can go ahead here and give a name to the table. We're going to look at the built-in calculations which are available while working with pivot tables. Avinash, I will share with you afterwards, okay? Anyway, you are attending Tableau training also, right, Avinash? I will give you there. All right. So we'll come here. So the next thing I would like to talk about is certain inbuilt calculations which are there in Excel. Like, for example, if you have to compute percentages, you don't have to sit and write a formula or create a calculated field for it, because there are some inbuilt calculations which we can use. So let me design the table. I will take product into the rows shelf, and I will take territory into the columns. Okay. So this business is active across multiple territories like South, East, and West and Central. And these are the different products. Or let me do one thing. Instead of product, I think I will take product type, because some products are not sold in some territories. It might not be very clear. The concepts may be a little confusing. All right, let's keep the table simple to understand this particular information. What I would like to show here is sales. So look at the structure of my table. I have sales data across different regions and across different product types over here. Okay. And we can see that tea is not being sold in South region. South of US, southern region of US, tea related items are not being sold. That is why we don't have any data. South and tea. If you want, you can go back to your data and cross check. So the region, I said the territory is South. Okay. So that is one filter. Then the product is, let's not select all, is tea. Where is tea? See, under South, tea is not even there in the list. Okay. Anything related to tea is not in the list. We have herbal tea. Lemon comes under herbal tea, but we don't have tea products. All right. That is why it is 0, because it does not exist. All right. Let's go ahead and select everything now. Now I will show you this option. Now my requirement is, anyway, you are all familiar with grand totals, isn't it? So what is this grand total indicating? It is indicating the total sales from central region, from coffee. The total sales of coffee. This number here is the total sales of espresso. This figure here is the total sales of herbal tea, and this is tea. And when you go column wise, what is this grand total indicating? The column grand total. Total sales of the central region, total sales from east, total sales from south, and total sales of west. Okay. And what is this final number indicating? The overall sales made by the business. Just a moment, please. Yeah, sorry about that. Right. So I hope you all understood the difference here. These are the individual sales from that, for that product from that region. Okay, this cell indicates the sales of espresso from east, this particular cell. But these are the regional totals. So I will call it regional totals. Okay, it will be more easy to understand. These are the regional totals, the horizontal ones. Oh, it changed here also. All right, because I think all the grand totals have a common header. So we'll just leave it as totals then. Both of them are totals. And these are the product totals. And this is the overall total made by the business, overall total sales from the business. Okay, let's all right. So I'll keep it like this. Now, what if I might want to show this data as percentages rather than showing the actual numbers? If I might want to show the percentages, it's very simple. I will right click in the cell and go to this option, show values as, and here we can show it as a percent of grand total if we want. We can show it as a percent of column total or a percent of row total. Let's go with percent of column total now. Initially, I will show you this. So when I say percent of column total, you will notice how each column is summing up to be 100%. Means, for a moment, let us just forget that we have data for east and south and west. Forget it. What if I am focusing only on central region? Okay, if I were focusing only on central region, if I consider the performance of central region to be 100%, okay. if we consider the performance of central region to be 100%, then 26% of the sales is because of the coffee products being sold. 25% of the sales is from herbal tea, another 25% from tea, and 22% is from espresso. Okay, that is what it is telling. If you look at South region, we are just looking at the performance of individual regions which are arranged as columns. So if I consider the overall sales of South region to be 100%, then how much of it is coming from the sales of which product? 43% of the sales from South is from espresso, 32 is from coffee, and 24 is from herbal tea. Just nothing from tea, because we are not selling anything related to that. Okay, I hope you all understood. So this is when we go at column level. Okay, now I'm going to again right click and change this to row total. So when I change it to row total, what happens? It is going to work with data present in each row separately. It works row wise, meaning it's going like this. This is the amount of data that Excel is taking into consideration and computing the percentages. Okay, of whatever was the total sales of coffee, 31% of the sales happened in Central. 26% of that sales happened in East. Just about 15% of the total sales happened in South, and another 26% in West. Whatever is the total sales, you can see the split up across different regions. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and change that to percent of grand total. Now in this case, what will happen? It is going to show us the contribution of each and every cell towards the overall sales made by the business. If I consider this as my 100%, the total sales of the business, how much of it is coming from, let's say, espresso in South? 5.9% of the total sales is from espresso in the South region. So contribution of each and every individual cell towards the overall value. So if this is the overall sales, then how much of it is from East? 32%. How much of it is from South? Only 12% of the overall sales is happening in South. And which product type is selling the most? Espresso, 27.2%. Which one is selling the least? Tea, 21.07%. I hope it is clear to all of you. So computing the percentages column wise, computing the percentages row wise, or taking the entire data and then computing the percentage. 3 different aspects. Depends on what is the question that you're trying to answer. Okay. If you have to see the performance of the products under each region, you have to go by column. If you have to look at the performance of a product across regions, you have to go by row. If you want to see the overall performance and contribution of each member towards the total, you have to go at the entire table level. All right. Now let's change this. Instead of showing the percent, I think is pretty simple. I hope you all understood. There are many other options that we have. A few other calculations also are there. Let me go here to more options and show you. Show data as. So percent of total, grand total, row total, that is one thing. We can also give a rank. Smallest to largest and largest to smallest. So if I say smallest to largest, okay, now you can see, one moment, I think it was having percentages, so it's not working. Let's do one thing, delete everything. And bring back sales over here. Okay, these are the values that we are working with. And I am not interested in showing any totals. So I will go to the design ribbon and off everything. Okay, so this is my data. Now, let's go to more options. Will it work when data is like this? Okay, I think we need a different format of data. I will demonstrate it with a different format of data, but let's just go and look at other calculations now. So the other calculations that we have, we can also get the difference. Okay, we saw percentages. Now let's look at the difference. Difference from. So when I say I want to get the difference with respect to these product types, I want to get it. Base item you have to give. So I want to, let's say, check how the remaining products are performing with respect to coffee. The difference with respect to coffee. Okay, then what will happen? Let's see. So coffee was my base item. There is nothing to compare coffee against. We are not comparing coffee against anything. But compared to coffee, how are the other items performing? So we can see this is not selling as much as coffee. It is down by so and so value. Okay, none of these meet up the sales of coffee. None of these meet up the sales of coffee. But in South, espresso is selling better than coffee. By how much? 11,731. Espresso is selling better than coffee by 11,731. In West also the same thing. In fact, West, all of them are selling better than coffee. Whatever was the sales here, right? Let me show you actual sales also, then it will be clear. I'm going to bring in sales again into this box. And let's bring the values, sales values down here. So they'll come as rows. So this sum of sales is the actual sales. No, this is the difference in sales, right? Yeah, this is the difference in sales. And this sum of sales here is the actual sales. Now we are comparing the actual sales of the remaining products like espresso, herbal tea, and tea with the actual sales of coffee. Now, if you look here, this is the sales of coffee in West region. But what about the sales of espresso there? It is greater than coffee by 12,000 and 120,000 almost. Sales of herbal tea is better than coffee by so and so number. Sales of tea is better than coffee by so and so, 143.72. Okay, difference in sales. So where are we doing better? Which of the products are doing better than coffee? Which of the products are not doing as good as coffee is what we are able to understand. All right, now let's change that. I will go to more options, and the difference in sales that I applied, I'm going to apply it at region level. Okay, not product type, but by territory. I want to compare the sales of all the regions against the sales of central. Suppose I choose central, and it's going to show me column wise. So you can see this has gone blank over here. And if this is the sales of central region, how much is east, south, and west doing with respect to that? So you can see none of these regions have sales as good as central. They are falling short. They are behind central by so and so figures. In West region, you can notice the sales of West for espresso is better than that of coffee, isn't it? Because we see a positive number. So here also West is doing better than Central for one product, and here also West is doing better than Central. Other regions are not as good as Central. So basically it would depend on the business requirement. What scenario is given to you? What exactly are you trying to achieve? Based on that, you can change the setting. So if I go to difference in sales, let's say I want to do it with respect to the previous value. Okay, so it's going to compare each region against the previous region in the table. So this is compared with this. So what is happening here? This minus this, we have the value. This minus the previous, we have the value. This minus the previous, and we have the value. So when you have to get quarter over quarter difference in sales or year over year, this kind of an option would be very, very helpful. Here I'm showing you with regions and products, but you repeat the same thing with years and quarters. Okay. Let me do that, otherwise I'll do that. So for different products, let's say I'm looking at the data for different years. Okay. Where is that? I need the year and I need the quarter. This is the representation I would like, year and quarter. So you can see this is 2012, and let's not show any totals here. So I'll go back to design and turn off subtotals also. All right. So quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then quarter 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. All right. Now let's populate some data in this. Let's say profit across different quarters. The profit is what we are seeing. Now quarter over quarter difference, QOQ. Quarter over quarter difference, if you might want, what will you do? You have to apply the difference formula. Go to more options, and data as I need to compute the difference. I can even show the difference as percentage. So from one quarter to another quarter, how much has been the growth? Or you're getting right? Year over year growth kind of a thing. Here we are seeing quarter over quarter growth. So I'll say difference from this compared to the prior value. So compared to the previous value. Okay. Now you can see percentage is computed. So within 2012, compared to quarter 1, how are quarter 2, how is quarter 2 doing? And compared to quarter 2, how is quarter 3 doing? Compared to quarter 3, how is quarter 4 doing? Then within 2013, compared to quarter 1, there is nothing to compare this against, right? So how is quarter 2 doing with respect to quarter 2? So we see a 4% growth here. We see a decline by 1.84% here. Let me show you the actual profit also. And yeah, so you can see the actual profit, and you can see the percentage improvement in the profit, whether it is positive or negative. So from here, if the profit increased, by what percent did profit increase? Quarter 1 to quarter 2, the business saw an improvement in the profit by almost 12%. Quarter 2 to quarter 3, again it saw an improvement of 8%. Then quarter 3 to quarter 4, the last quarter, the profit went down. The profit reduced by 17.32%. Okay, so when you have to do quarter over quarter, year over year, these kind of things come in handy. Again, you have to be careful what you're referencing. Okay. So we can, another thing that we can get here is we can get the running total. We can get the running total. Let me do one thing. Let's just expand and get the running total. So what is running total? It is the cumulative or the collective total. Like let's say I have certain values. Okay. And this is the actual values. These are the actual values. Now, if I say I want the running total, it is going to be the cumulative. Here it will be 1. Here it will be summation of these two numbers, 1 plus 2, 3. Here, summation of these three numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, making it 6. Then 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, making it 10. Here, it will be summation of all of these numbers, making it 15. Here, it will be summation of all of these numbers, making it 21. Here, summation of all these numbers, making it 28. So why do we need such a thing? Imagine this is the COVID cases count. Okay, number of cases in each month. The number of cases in Jan, number of cases in Feb, number of cases in March, April, so on and so forth. All right, now, this is the cumulative cases. So one case was recorded in the month of Jan. 2 cases were recorded in Feb. But what is the total number of cases by the end of February? 3. The number of cases recorded in June is 6. But what is the overall total number of cases from the day the first case was registered until the end of June? The cumulative total, 21. So this is the cumulative total. So whenever you have to work with cumulative total, you can use the running total inbuilt calculation which is available. I hope you all understood the significance of a cumulative total. It gives you an idea about the overall value. So during the COVID season, when it was in peak, what happened? Every day in the news, we used to hear this, right? That total number of new cases recorded today and the overall case count till date. So the big scary number was the overall case count, right? From the day when the first case was recorded until that point in time, whatever is the total case count is also something that they presented to us in the news every day. We had information about the number of cases registered on a particular day and total number of cases. Thereby, the overall case count has increased to so and so value. So that is the cumulative count. Here you can see what is the actual profit in quarter 1, actual profit in quarter 2, actual profit in quarter 3. And these numbers are the cumulative profit. So Q1 and Q2 collectively gave the business a profit of around 15,000. Q1, Q2, Q3 collectively gave a profit of this value. And with Q4's contribution coming into picture, it increased further. That's it. This is for this year, 2012, whatever I have data for. Now for 2013 data, if you take, this is quarter 1, which remains the way it is. This is the profit from quarter 2. So collectively, both of them have given a profit of this much. Then another figure has come. Collectively, the profit has further increased. And by the end of quarter 4, from the beginning of 2013 till the end of quarter 4, the overall profit is this much. Okay, like that, for features like running total, for features like computing the percentages, you don't have to, or getting the difference, percent difference. Okay, you don't have to sit and write any formula because these are already pre-written here in Excel. All you need to do is call them. All you need to use is go ahead and select it. And Excel will automatically apply the formula on your data and give you the output. Okay, so we have focused on calculations and the inbuilt calculations. I hope whatever we discussed today was clear. If you have any doubts, you can put them down now and I shall answer them. And yeah, please do like the video before you all leave, because not even 10% of the participants or viewers who watch the video are liking it. So I'm little apprehensive here. If there is any concern, then you can leave your feedback in the comment section. Okay, we will go through the feedback and try to improve. If you're okay with the way it is being presented, if you're able to understand everything, I think the way you let us know about it is just smash the like button. Okay, it's a way you validate our performance. So it boosts the morale of the entire team who's working so hard to bring all these things to you, share the knowledge with y'all. So it would be wonderful if you can all, leave a comment, like the video, and of course, share it with your friends and colleagues, nieces, nephews, children, whoever you feel will benefit by watching this video. Okay, that's all we are asking of you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, people. Thank you all. I will see you in the next class tomorrow. We will focus on charts. But if you have any questions, I'm here to take up your questions. All right. I don't see any questions coming up. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. See you all tomorrow.